Good evening, Facebook friends, LinkedIn, YouTube. Thank you for joining us. We are going to get started in just a couple of minutes. Good evening, everyone. Just going to give another minute or two for the rest of the people to pour in here. We've got a full house tonight. We are actually streaming on Zoom, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So I am running solo tonight. So it's going to be hard for me to answer questions on the fly. I'll do the best I can. I always try to keep a eye on the chat box. So if there's any questions that you have throughout this evening, please just type away in the chat box. I promise you, I will go back and look through every single question and answer everybody's questions. So it's a little bit more challenging me. For Zoom, quite easy. When it comes to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, I will do my best, but I promise you I will circle back and get everyone's questions answered before the end of the evening. Now, for any of you that want direct access to me, I am never bashful about handing out my cell phone number. So let's do that right now. Let's get that here. Where are the chat boxes here? That's 248-252-7283. I am the first one to admit I am a self-professed phone jockey. I am on the phone all day. So if I don't answer a call when you call in, shoot me a text. I'll call you as soon as I possibly can. So always want to make sure that I return everyone's message before the end of the day. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I don't like having a full inbox. But if you're a texter, awesome. I get so many texts. And if you do ever chat with my my automated system, my gosh, I swear it gives better answers than I could. So we've spent almost 3 years gathering data from all of my webinars, my books, transcribing everything. And these artificial intelligence bots are absolutely amazing the way that they can answer questions. So don't be bashful putting anything in there. Be specific. No matter what area of the country that you are in, there are programs available across the country. Now, as far as this evening, just to give you an overview, we're going to go over some success stories. I'm going to give you a good 5-6 people that have purchased homes recently using down payment assistance programs and grants. And in every situation, they're getting in with just, a few $1,000s out of pocket. Some cases, $1,000 out of pocket. We're going to highlight City of Detroit, my hometown, 2 incredible programs right now. There was the Tobias Harris program, $75,000. It was only in 9 zip codes. They just opened it up to all the zip codes in the city of Detroit. A tremendous amount of money. So you don't get to keep the $75,000, but you get free use of it. You never make a payment on it. They never charge any interest. So if someone's going to give you free use of money, why not use it? It is really working very well for a lot of people that are on fixed incomes. and allowing them to qualify for some very nice homes that are all renovated. And so I'll tap on that. We'll touch on that. That's the Tobias Harris program. And there is the City of Detroit $25,000 program. Now, as long as you own the house 5 years, you get to keep all the money. So that is free money, $25,000. And on that program, you only need $1,000 into the transaction to get across the finish line. So I can't believe that money is still available for that. But for whatever reason, I feel like the market's slowing down a little bit. And at the same time, the inventory levels in some areas are good. Other areas still challenging. So I also I am blessed to have a few investors that I work with, because all of the programs that I do work real good for renters, getting them out of that rental rut and into home ownership. And as a result, I have investors that reach out to me that want to sell their homes to first-time home buyers and people on these programs. I have one investor that has shared with me 24 homes. None of them are in the city. They're actually anywhere from Redford, East Point, Roseville, Warren, Farmington Hills. Okay. This investor's selling 25. I take that back. It's 24 houses. So I'm going to give you, I'll give you a glimpse of the list, where they are, the prices. They're anywhere between $80,000 to $200,000, and those are in the suburbs. So, so he is looking to move those as time permits. So, anyways, with that being said, I'm going to jump into it. But before I do that, though, if you could let me know in the chat box, what area are you looking at? It helps me curtail this evening's presentation to what area people are looking at. So if you are in Michigan, awesome. Let me know what area. I do get people from all over the country because of our new application we just built. That is called Zero Down Scout. And I'm going to give you access to that this evening too. So this evening, we're going to cover the two different programs. We're going to cover that list that I just promised you. We're also going to go over Zero Down Scout. That's the program that has over 3,000. It's an application you actually download. And we'll give you the link to download it. It's for free, and it will tell you, it gives you over 3,000 programs across the country. That's grant programs, down payment assistance programs, and even tax credits. So very, very happy and proud about that. We're also going to go over what some of the criteria are to qualify for a lot of these programs. You don't need perfect credit. One thing I will tell you, nothing about this evening. This is nothing about perfection. This is just about getting people into quality homes, okay? And you don't need to have perfect credit or income to make that happen. So we're going to go over that approval criteria, and we're going to give you the steps of what the whole process is like, and then give you what to do next, okay? And I always tell people the first thing is, after this evening, boy, I would say schedule a call with me, okay? That is always the first step. Whether you're looking in 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, doesn't matter to me. I always like to get a pulse on where your situation is right now, in case we need to massage things a little bit, okay? And so let me give you I'll drop this in the chat box right now. This is a link, and I apologize, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube people. I forgot to give you my phone number a moment ago. So let's try to clean this up a little bit here. Okay. And the phone number 248-252-7283. And let's give you a link to my calendar. This is where you can schedule a free call with me. No obligation, regardless of your situation. So let's see here, and we're going to touch on that. And a lot of these programs do not require perfect credit. I find that there are 3 things that go into getting people across the finish line, okay? Number 1, most people think you need money. It's basically assets. So your money, your credit, and your income. I'm going to tell you the money is the easiest part. Once you see all the money that's actually out there this evening, you're going to realize that that money is the easiest part. Okay. Most people can put together a couple of $1,000s to get into a house just for the fact that, heck, if you want to rent anywhere right now, they want 1.5 months security deposit, your first month's rent, they're charging cleaning fees. It's ridiculous. And what you get for your money is very disheartening. And it's the same song across the country right now. Very, very depressing. And I find that especially I really prefer to work in a lot of the underserved communities, helping people tap into these programs. And what's going on with regards to the quality of rentals and landlords, it's really sad what's going on out there. So that being said, schedule that call with me. If you need help on the credit front, you know what? I'll put that up now. I usually save that for a little later, but I do a webinar teaching people how to get their credit scores up 60 points in 60 days. Okay. In fact, you can go right out to my website. Okay. And I'll do that right now. It is called Own the Roof. Okay. So go out to my website and paste. There you go. And let's get this in the one for our Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn friends. There you go. Go to my website, Own the Roof. When you go out there, you're going to see all kinds of resources, free credit repair webinar. My next one, 10 days from today, May 23rd, 9 a.m. I teach people how to get their credit scores up 60 points in 60 days. So remember, I said 3 things that people need to have in order to get into a house using these down payment assistance programs. The money's the easy part, credit's usually the next, and then the income. Okay. So just as long as we know those things, I can coach you. Like I said, whether it's 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, doesn't matter to me. I have some people that have been following me for a few years. So, and I'll actually ask that question right now. Anybody out there that's been following me for a couple of years, let some people know in the chat box. We've got a lot of new people here. We ran some ads this week that really did quite well, which lets me know that there really is a need out there. And I have someone that's saying right now, credit scores 5-ish. Depending upon where you're looking, there is a program right now that'll give you free 25,000. Your scores just have to be in the mid 500s. Okay. So there are a lot of options out there. But with that being said, we only have about 50 minutes. I know I don't know what your thoughts are, but that's typically my attention span when I'm sitting on these webinars. So let's get through this as quickly as we can. And then I promise you, we can circle back and I'll answer all your questions. Okay. And I'm already seeing a couple people, 580 credit score, no problem. 540, actually, I did get a few 540s done last year on the City of Detroit 25,000 program, depending upon what's dragging those scores down. But with that being said, let's dive into it, and then we can circle back and answer your individual questions later on. Okay. So then let's get here. I forgot to record this. All right. Record. Okay, good. So recording's going. For all the people that couldn't make it this evening, we'll have the recording available. So let's jump right into this. So to start off here, let's give you some of the success stories that we've had over the past. Some of these are just about a year. Okay. First one. Nate and Chelsea purchased this home in White Lake Township. They qualified for a $14,000 down payment assistance program, and they got a free solar package on top of it. Now, they are having the solar package installed this spring, okay? So I haven't done one of these programs since they had this done in the fall, and that's just because I want to make sure that the process was seamless. So far, talked with Nate a couple of weeks ago, and he's scheduled to have it installed, and everything is going according to plan. So $14,000 for Nate and Chelsea. Kenneth, great story. Kenneth was someone that I met. He actually called me. His barber told him to call me when he was sitting in a barber chair. He just got pushed out of his rental, and that being the case, we were able to get him qualified for a $10,000 down payment assistance program from the state of Michigan. So now when Kenneth called me, he was actually working with another agent that was trying to kind of push him into a house on a street that I grew up on, actually Lamphere in Detroit. Any of you people are familiar with the Brightmoor area down towards Finkel and Lamphere. It gets a little challenging there, to say the least. So, but the house needed a lot of work. And I felt like, Kenneth, we could certainly do better. And we did. We ended up getting him this house on Vaughan Street that had an updated kitchen. I got to tell you, the bathroom was updated too. So a quality rehab on this particular one. And he was able to get into this one for $95,000. Didn't need any money at closing because he gave us a $1,000 deposit, which covered everything. Okay. So very, very happy for Kenneth and his new puppy, Maestro. So next one. So Shannon purchased this home actually on Wyoming. Shout out to the Kroger at 8 Mile in Wyoming. There have been a handful of people that I've been able to help get onto this program and purchase homes. So I appreciate you all passing my name around there. Shannon purchased this home for $117,000, only needed $2,000 at closing. And Emily is one of my, I've got everyone's a favorite, but Emily is the one person that I actually learned just as much from Emily as she did from me. And as a result, any opportunity I have to call Emily just to see how she's doing, I'm all about that. But Emily is a person that qualified for everything. And if you have credit scores in those upper 700s, it is possible to start stacking some of these programs. So Emily not only qualified for the City of Detroit $25,000 program, she qualified for Emily's on here tonight. I just say, hi, Emily. Thanks for showing up tonight. So Emily qualified for a 3% down payment program. And on top of that, a $5,000 closing cost credit and a $500 appraisal credit. She ran the table, and very, very happy and proud to call Emily a friend of mine. So she is one of those people that just would not be denied. She is just under pressure, got things done, and very graceful when she needs to ask for things to get done too. So she has an uncanny ability to be very firm when she asks for things and get things done. So especially when it came to, she actually, and she doesn't, she's told me I could share this story, so I don't feel like divulging anything, but Emily was actually on a voucher. So if any of you are out there and are Section 8 recipients, do not let people tell you cannot buy a home, okay? There is a home purchasing program for people that are on Section 8 vouchers. Now, not all housing commissions participate, okay? Emily happened to be someone with the Detroit Housing Commission, and they are making an aggressive push right now to try and transfer the people that qualify over from renting to home ownership, okay? So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Love to learn your story and see what we can do. If you're not signed up for that program, we can certainly put you on the path and connect you with the right people at the Detroit Housing Commission to do it. Now, there are other housing commissions in southeastern Michigan that do the purchase program. Ann Arbor is very aggressive with it, and there are a few others too. But again, not all housing commissions participate. So the nice thing about it is that Section 8 voucher can actually make your mortgage payment. So what's not to like there, okay? So very, very happy for Emily. Next one, Tashiana, she purchased one using the $25,000 through the City of Detroit. And Brian, $10,000 from, that's from the state of Michigan, MISTA down payment assistance program. He only needed his payments are below $1,200. And I think he just needed a couple $1,000s out of pocket to close on this home in Inkster. And then here's another one, Deborah. Deborah's one that qualified for the $75,000 program, the Tobias Harris that we're going to go over in just a moment. Okay. This one was only for certain zip codes and just expanded to the whole city. So Deborah had been renting this house from LaDon for over 10 years, paying about $1,200 a month. We were able to get her on the Tobias Harris program, and she actually got her payments down to $761 using the $75,000 program. And her landlord was just, he just renewed my faith in human nature, because most landlords aren't generous. LaDon agreed to sell her the house at a price well below the market a couple of years ago. And when push came to shove, LaDon honored that price. And that's how we were able to get her payments so low. So very, very happy for Deborah too. So the one thing that's common, these people were all once where you are right now. They were on my webinars, some of them 2 years ago, some a year ago. And they basically, I realized there's so many sketchy things out there, and it's really hard to believe that these things do exist, but trust me, they do. Okay. So in my mind, it's all about just hooking your wagon to the right train. Okay. It's not always easy. Okay. There's always going to be a bumpy road. But one thing I can assure you, I've been doing this long enough. I've been doing this 38 years now. If there is a bumpy road you're about to go down, I'm going to tell you. Okay. We'll just hold on together and we will get through it. 90% of the people that I refer out to lenders end up getting approved and purchasing homes. And the 10% that don't, the only reason is there's little hiccups that pop up that that they just couldn't do it. And that doesn't mean no, it just means that maybe just not right now. We need to get things in alignment, and we can pull it off in a few months. So you'll never hear no from me. You'll just hear not right now, and this is what we need to do to possibly improve your situation to get you where you need to be. Okay? So all right. So the first program I want to talk about tonight, the Tobias Harris program. Okay. First and foremost, just because $75,000 is a huge amount of money. Okay. Now it's $75,000 or 40%, whichever is lower. And right now you need to buy a home $187,000 or higher to get the whole $75,000. Now, think about it. If it's $87,000, $75,000, that's going to take you down $112,000. A mortgage for $112,000 right now is running out to be about maybe $1,000, $1,100 a month, and you're in a house that's a couple $100,000. That's right now 2-bedroom apartments across the country are $1,350 a month. In the Detroit metropolitan area and the city, $1,300 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. So great program. Now, the qualifications, you've got to be a first-time home buyer, got to be a Wayne County resident, and it does have some income restrictions, and the income restrictions are based on how many people are in your household. Initially, it was for 9 zip codes. Now it's available throughout the whole city. Okay. Great program. You don't get to keep the whole $75,000, but when you sell or pay the loan off over 30 years, then you have to give them the $75,000. But basically, you're getting free use of the money. So, with the time value of money, what a great way to buy a house. Next program I want to touch on that's still got some funding and great is the City of Detroit program. Oh, by the way, the Tobias Harris program does require a 620 credit score or higher. Now, great program. There is no mortgage insurance on that one. Now, there's a City of Detroit $25,000. This is a grant. You just have to own the home for 3 years. Well, I think it's 5 years, actually. We might have a typo here. And then you get to keep the whole $25,000. Okay. So it does have a $9 million fund. Looks like they got some additional funding here. You do have to live in the city for the last 12 months, no home ownership in the last 3 years. There are some income restrictions, and this is the one program only requires $1,000 out of pocket to get in. Okay. And it's available in all zip codes. As long as it's 482 something, you're good. So what we do on this particular program, this one will cover everything except that $1,000. We can use $20,000 for your down payment, $5,000 for your closing cost, $1,000 from you. Boom, we're done. So great way to buy a house. All right, next one I want to talk about. This is a list of all the homes that one of my investors is putting out there right now. Okay, so you can see there are probably 10 houses in Warren, looks like 3 or 4 in Redford, Farmington Hills, Westland, didn't realize he had one in Westland, a couple in East Point, a few in Roseville. So all over, anything priced from 80,000 all the way up to 200, a couple of 200s. So keep in mind, right now, a $150,000 house is working out to be about a $1,300 house payment. So if we tapped into one of these programs and were able to get the seller to maybe help pay for some of your closing costs, if the money wasn't plentiful to cover that, boom, you're in with very little money out of pocket. Okay, so that being the case, please take a screenshot of this. These are homes. And the reason I stress this is right now, getting homes under contract in the suburbs is becoming a little bit more challenging. And that's because the inventory levels are still low. So this is the best way that I know of, is to connect people with these houses before they even hit the market. I am seeing way too many people bidding way too high for houses right now. Okay. And I get it. Everybody needs a roof over their head, and best time to buy a house is now, not next year. Okay. They tend to go up. So, especially when we start looking in this price range, with the amount of assistance that's coming out of Washington or forecasted to come out in Washington in the next year or two, it's only going to be pushing prices even higher, especially with these inventory levels throttled back as much as they are right now. So if you need a copy of that list, let me know. Happy to get it to you. Now, keep in mind, somebody's saying not qualified for neither opportunity. I will tell you, the City of Detroit program, I got people done with credit scores down to 540 on that program last year. So don't think that your credit's in such a bad shape that you can't do it. But we do need to start somewhere. If your credit is in that bad a shape, then please just sign up for my credit repair webinar. And let me put that link out here again. Oh, let me go back in here because I think the links might have changed a little bit. There we go. Credit repair webinar. Copy. Paste. And let me get that into the YouTube, LinkedIn. All right. Here is, a link to my credit repair webinar. Okay. On that webinar, we're going over exactly the do's and don'ts and what you can do to get a quick spike in your score. When I mean quick, I'm talking 60 points in 60 days. Okay. So now let's talk about what these programs are, what's the difference between grants and down payment assistance, what are some of the eligibility requirements, and what are the benefits of doing down payment assistance versus grants, and some of the misconceptions that are out there. So first of all, what is down payment assistance? Now, down payment assistance comes in 3 forms, okay? There's one where as long as you own the home for a certain period of time, you get to keep the money, okay? It's very similar to a grant. Okay, and grants are structured the same way. Typically, you need to own the home for a certain period of time. You get to keep the money. There are a few grants where you get the money at the time of closing, but that's more the exception rather than the rule. Now, when it comes to down payment assistance, there's ones, you get the money, own the house for several years, you get to keep all of it. Number 2, you get free use of the money, like the $75,000. You get to use that for up to 30 years. Or the state of Michigan has $10,000. You get to use that as long as you own the house. And then once you sell it or pay the loan off, they want the $10,000. Okay. So you're getting free use of someone's money. You never pay any interest. You never make any payments on it. It just kind of sits there. Okay. So if that's as bad as it gets, the free use of someone else's money, why wouldn't you? Okay. And then there's the third case. That's where you actually borrow the down payment and they charge interest and you make a second mortgage payment. I tell you, I do maybe just a handful of those a year. I'm not big fans of those unless it's the only thing available. Okay. And we can usually find something else, especially with the application I'm going to show you in a few moments that gives you up to 3,000 different programs. Now, grants. There are a couple different types of grants. There's usually down payment grants, closing cost grants, and other grants that cover like appraisals and inspections and things like that. So occasionally we can stack those grants on top of each other. Okay. Now, as far as the eligibility requirements, they change between different programs. But for the most part, if your credit scores are 600 or higher, there's definitely stuff available for you. Okay. The higher the scores, more programs. Now, if your credit score is above a 580, we're pretty good anywhere in the Detroit metropolitan area. I just need to know what your situation is if we need to move the needle just a little bit. If your credit scores are below 580, then we're limited. We only have right now the City of Detroit program. And then with that, I always tell people, let's go to my credit repair webinar, and I can usually coach people on how to get a quick spike in their score in 30 days to get where we need to be. Okay. Now, credit scores, we just covered that. As far as the money, I told you earlier, that's the easy part. Okay. So don't worry about the money. Just plan on 1% of the purchase price, ideally a couple $1,000s. Now, as far as the income, they don't want to see more than half of your income typically going to your house payment and the debts that are showing up on your credit report. Okay. So what does that look like? Let's say, for example, you've got an income of $4,000 a month. 50% of that would be $2,000. Suppose you've got $400 going to a car payment. That takes you down to $1,600. And then maybe a couple $100 going to credit cards or student loans. That takes you down to $1,400. Right now, $1,400 is buying a $175,000 house using these down payment assistance programs. Just that simple. Okay. So you don't need perfection. You don't need tons of income to qualify. Oh, here's one of the misconceptions. These programs are only for low income families. Absolutely not. There are some programs that have no income thresholds. So it doesn't, I have some people that are six-figure people that qualify for this stuff. Okay. So do not think if you are a high income earner that you won't qualify for any of this. So the benefits of down payment assistance versus grants, ideally, we're always going to try to tap into the grants first. Okay. If the grants aren't available, then we want to go to the down payment assistance. Sometimes we'll do down payment assistance and then put grants on top of it. So it goes the other way too. So it depends on which ones you qualify for. And the tool I'm about to show you is going to tell you all the programs that are out there. Okay. So some of the misconceptions about down payment assistance programs are, number one, they have a lot higher interest rate. Wrong. There are some that have higher interest rates. I totally get that. And for that reason, we get a lot of loan officers that just dog these programs. But there are some that offer subvented rates at very affordable prices. So it's just like anything. There's a little bit more paperwork with this. And since there's a little bit more paperwork, sometimes people get lazy and don't want to tell others about these programs. Okay. By doing the Zero Down Scout app, by building that, we're putting people in control where you can find the programs. And then we connect you with the lenders that do the programs, because not all lenders do all programs. Okay. That's one of the common misconceptions. People think if they go to the lender, they're going to end up with the right program. Chances are you won't. And the reason is most lenders only do 2 or 3 of these programs. And if there's 100 programs available, like in the state of Michigan, the chances of you getting that right lender that's going to have everything that you're eligible for, it's remote. You might get lucky. Every now and then I get somebody that's lucky and hooks up with the right lenders. Okay. So next thing we want to talk about. What are the steps? Okay. So first step, we want to identify the programs. Okay. We're going to show you that in just 1 minute with the Zero Down Scout tool. Number 2, we want to check your eligibility. Number 3, we want to gather your documentation, and it's not a lot. They just need proof of income. They'll pull your credit, and then they want to know where your money's sitting. So we have to show that you've got a few $1,000s sitting somewhere. So keep that in mind. Then we want to connect you with a lender and get you pre-approved. for the most amount of money available, whether it's a down payment assistance grant or both. And then once we have you pre-approved, we want to connect you with an agent that's proficient in getting these deals accepted. It's not rocket science, but if you haven't done these deals before, there's an art to it, okay? I find that most of the time, sometimes agents tell the seller, oh, well, we're using a down payment assistance program. I wouldn't do that, okay? There's no reason telling the seller you're using a down payment assistance program unless he asks. If he asks, I'm certainly going to be upfront about it, but I'm going to talk up the program, okay? So I find that for the most part, we don't tell people when they're buying $1 million home that they're taking their money out of whatever account, Charles Schwab, to buy the house. So there's no reason to tell them where you're getting your down payment from unless somebody asks, okay, which doesn't happen very often, okay? So I find that you really should hook your wagon to a seasoned train that knows how to get these deals across the finish line. And that's what my team and I do, okay? So next thing, I want to show you where we go to get all of these programs. So tell people, go out to, let's go back here, right here. Here is the barcode, or I should say not a barcode, but the QR code to download Zero Down Scout. I always tell people, go out to the Apple Store or the Android, Google Play Store, and download this application. This is the key. When you go out, you're going to get this, okay? It's going to take you to a tool, which is going to look like, well, maybe not look like that. Let me go back here. Let me open this up again so you can see exactly what it looks like. So when you open it up, that's what you're going to see. Then it's going to take you to an area where you can enter your zip code. Let's try this over again. Oh, it's going right to it. So it's going to take you to an area where you can it'll open up and you just put a zip code. From there, it's going to tell you how many programs based on the zip code. Okay, so for example, this one's saying it qualifies for 15 programs. Looks like this one, somebody just did it in Florida. Interesting. Let me go back and let's try one in our area. Florida, let's do Michigan. And 48219, the house I grew up in. Let's even put it in. 16801. Let's see. Oops. Lamphere. 48219. Say 150,000. Continue. We'll skip all of these. The more questions you answer here, the more accurate the number of programs are. But you can see right now, 9 programs, okay? So you've got 10,000 through the state of Michigan, 7,500 through the first down payment assistance, Wayne County, 10,000, Mishta, 10,000, Step Forward, 15,000, Mishta, 20%. This one actually, we're a little bit short here. It's not showing the Detroit 25,000, okay? And it's not showing the 75,000 for some reason, okay? And maybe that's because I need to take this quiz and do it a little bit more. But very easy. You can also go through here, chat with us, or if you are looking for any educational content, we have books, we have courses, and of course we have our webinars. And you can get all of those for free out on our website, Own the Roof. So if you just go out and Google Own the Roof, you're going to see all of our tools here. This is our website. On our website, you can see the resources, publications. Any of you that want a copy of my book, my gosh, just text me. Happy to send it out to you. There's no reason to go into Amazon and buy it. Okay, I didn't write it to buy it. I wrote it to pay it forward. Okay. So I wrote a book, No Down Payment, No Problem. And there's another one called No Credit, No Problem. So I wrote these books because I found that a lot of people were out there just trying to sell people and take advantage of them. And the only reason I have them up on as Amazon is just because it adds credibility, to be honest with you. So if you're a reader, great, we've got you covered. If you don't enjoy reading, that's fine. We certainly have our webinars, or you can go to my digital courses. I have 6 hours of video on how to purchase using down payment assistance programs, a 4-hour course on how to fix your credit, 60 points in 60 days. I also have a 2-hour videos on how to structure these transactions to get in with very little money out of pocket. And these are all the structuring deals. That's more of a high level conversation. I did that for agents because agents always ask me, how do I structure these deals to get in with as little money out of pocket as possible? Most people think it's just by asking the seller to pay some of your closing costs. No, there's lender credits, there's interest rate credit, there's all kinds of credits out there, especially right now. Right now, we're finding that the Community Reinvestment Act money is being pushed to the streets by the mid-level banks. No reason not to try and tap into that if we can. Okay. So lots of different ways to get across the finish line with regards to money. So please go out there and download Zero Down Scout. Okay. This is the tool that will tell you where everything is, regardless of where you are. It's crazy the amounts of money out there. Did one earlier, Miami, Florida, $200,000. LA, $160,000. New York, $250,000. Now, granted, these areas, $1 million doesn't buy much. So they almost have to do that to help combat the issue of almost the gentrification that's going on. There's a lot of people that work in those areas that can't afford to live there. So I feel like they have to push that money in those markets in order to help stabilize things. But keep in mind, if we're in the Detroit area, 25,000 goes a long way. And obviously 75,000 certainly speaks for itself. All right. Next thing. So, like I said, the first step, download the Zero Down Scout application. Go out there and see what programs you qualify for. Okay. Do your homework. Okay. If you want to know more about any particular program, just reach out to me. Always happy to enlighten you, let you know what the criteria is, and see what we can do to connect you with that particular program. If not, we'll give you the tools of what you need to do to get there. From there, we want to check your eligibility. Okay. Make sure your income is alignment, credit scores, and other factors if they come into play. And then number 3, we want to gather your documentation. W-2s, pay stubs. If you're on a fixed income, which, by the way, a few people that we've talked about in the beginning were actually on fixed income. Remember Emily? Social Security. Remember Kenneth? He was on Social Security. Okay. So you don't need big income to qualify for these programs. Okay. So we just need to show where the money's coming from. So you give me a Social Security awards letter and maybe a couple of bank statements. And if you don't have bank statements or do your banking online, we have ways to work around that. Okay. I just need to know what your situation is. I've had a few people ask me for my phone number a couple of times. So let me make sure I get that back in here. 248-252-7283. And let me get it in this other one too, 248. And let me get you a link for a call. Here it is. Book a call. All right. So once we gather your documentation, we're going to send you off to a lender. Now, ideally, I want to send you to a lender typically that has more than one program available. And the reason I do that is if one program is out of funding or you can't get approved for it, I want to make sure you've got a backup plan. Okay. I don't know how you are, but the last thing I want to do, I don't want to get hyped up for a move and get my family excited for a move and then have the rug pulled out. That's one of the cruelest things. So I want a plan B. Okay. And sometimes we can stack those programs one on top of the other. Okay. So I'll connect you with the lender. Now, I have no problem telling you the lenders. Right now, there's a few lenders that I work with. Guild Mortgage is the only one doing the Tobias Harris program, and they do the state program, and they do the other programs. So I'm really a big fan of Guild. Flagstar Bank is a nice regional lender that has a fair amount of Community Reinvestment Act money to push the streets right now. So they're always one of my favorites. So, and there are a handful of others. Cross Country Mortgage is doing a great job for people with credit scores below 580, especially with the City of Detroit program. So there's a handful of lenders that I like working with. And there's plenty of other lenders that offer money too. I mean, Bank of America always sitting on billions of dollars in free money. They're just a pain in the butt to get the money out of them. So, but I won't get started on that. But so I always tell people, please allow me to make the introduction for you. So schedule a call with me. From there, I'll put myself in your shoes, learn your situation, and then connect you with a loan officer at whatever bank is out there that we think is the best fit. So what I don't like people to do, or what really doesn't work well, is if you call some of these banks yourselves, you're going to go into a call center. Okay. And most of these banks employ thousands of loan officers, so they don't know who I am. So when you approach that bumpy road, and everyone gets to it, there's always some bumps in the road somewhere. They're not going to talk with me. But if it's somebody I referred you to, we can usually hash things out and work through it by putting our heads together. Now, I don't like boring people with my resume, but I spent over 20 years in the mortgage industry. That's how I know how to tap into these programs, how to have the high-level conversations with these loan officers to get things across the finish line, and how to structure these transactions to get in with just a couple $1,000s out of pocket. So for me, the light bulb went on about 12 years ago when I was in the mortgage business and the title business. I used to have a principal position, and one day someone came to me and we realized our bookkeeper had been embezzling money, and everything came crashing down, and I had to start over. And when I started over, I realized that, do I really want to get back on that hamster wheel and build back what we just lost? Because it really wasn't fulfilling. It was just like chasing dollars. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but that wasn't really what motivates me. Now, what motivates me is helping as many people as I possibly can. The more people I help, the more people I close on these down payment assistance programs, especially in underserved communities. That's where the value comes for me. So once I discovered that about 12 years ago, my life has been changed, and I've been blessed ever since. So let me make that introduction for you and connect you with the lender that I can hold accountable when you hit those bumpy roads. Okay. And then once we get you pre-approved, and the pre-approval doesn't take very long, usually just a day or two. Sometimes we can do it the same day if everything lines up. But from there, we're going to get you out and start looking at houses. And right now, depending upon where you're looking, is just a great time to be purchasing. I'm finding that the inventory levels, especially if anybody's out there looking in the city of Detroit, great quality homes right now. Offers are readily getting accepted. Sellers are paying closing costs. In the suburbs, it's still kind of it's a fight. That's why I put that list out there with the landlord that's about to sell a bunch of properties, because most of the people in the suburbs are getting into multiple offer situations. Not that they're paying more than they should, but it just kind of, it's not fun when you can't give people good, predictable outcomes. And that part isn't joyful for me when we have to fight too hard to get houses under contract. And sometimes people actually overpay a little bit. But but buying today is certainly better than buying next year. What do they say? When was the best time to buy a house? That would have been 5 years ago. So anyways, so that step number 5 will be hooking you up with an agent, either myself or one of my team members. All right. So I always tell people, imagine opening the door to your own home for your family. It's a process, but it is possible. Okay. And keep in mind, none of what we talked about tonight, it's not about perfection. It's about we got to start somewhere. Okay. Now, with that being said, I want to start diving into some of the questions this evening. So you got my phone number. You've got my calendar, link to my calendar. So please hit me up on that. So let's see, we've got people. Someone's asking, is there a salary limit on the Tobias Harris program? Yes, there is. It depends on how many people you have in the household. Okay. So I think it's about $60,000 for a single person, 2 people, 75, maybe 3, 85, so and so on. Okay. Simone, looking at Redford, great. 48219. Got it. So that's going to be more old Redford area, down to Brightmoor. All right. Redford, Michigan. Tamika Porter, Troy. You know what? There are some programs in Troy. State of Michigan program, $10,000, 48227. Thanks, Moody. West Side, Farmington Hills, Winston. Yep, got a few coming up there. Indrima, 48238. Good. Detroit, Michigan, Downriver, which is, yep, got it. Oak Park, Redford, Royal Oak, Southfield, Detroit. Good. LaShonda Black, great. Thank you for sharing that. Al Davis got a few coming up in East Point. Actually, you have a fair amount in East Point. So please schedule a call with me, Al. Absolutely happy to give you a list of what's coming on the market there. Michigan, Lincoln Park, or Detroit, great. West Side, Belinda, good. Northwest Detroit for Moody. Carrie Hunter, yep. 482, okay, all Detroit. Clinton Township, okay, so you're talking Taylor. Boy, Yvette, you're all over. Clinton Township, Macomb County, then down to Taylor, Romulus, Michigan. Boy, that's there's a lot of real estate in between those towns. So something tells me you have family peppered out all over the area, Yvette. Vanessa, Detroit West Side, great, love it. Martina, Highland Park, a lot of value in Highland Park right now, Martina. I feel like that's the area that's popping. I'm east now, but lived on my west side my whole life. Prefer west side. Got it? Love to have you back on the west side, Michael. I'm a west sider, but there's a lot of value on the east side. So Highland Park, like I said, one of the underserved areas. I like Merriam. Redford, got a couple coming up in Redford. Okay, Marlene, please schedule a call with me, Marlene. Happy to go over your situation. Don't know what area you're looking in, but there certainly are some flexibility with the City of Detroit program right now, going down to 540 credit scores. Jonathan Hill, great. Got it. Yeah, so Michael, what I would tell people with regards to credit scores, I would tell people just go out to Credit Karma to start, okay? Just get a pulse on where your credit scores are. Now, keep in mind, Credit Karma doesn't use the FICO scores. Okay, we want the FICO scoring models 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, and 10 is what the mortgage industry is using right now. So, but in order to get those scores, they typically have to do inquiries. So I always tell people, go with the free stuff, go with Credit Karma. It's not the same algorithm, but it's in the ballpark, okay? And once we know that number, I can get a feel for what's on your credit report. You just tell me what bills you have that are showing up on there, and I can usually give you a feel at how accurate that number is and give you a go-forward plan from there, okay? Good, Moody, schedule that call. Tamika, mid-500s, great. So I will tell you, Marlene, I'm seeing a common thread here. A lot of people mid-500s to 580s. I'm telling you, my credit repair webinar, when I say we will show you how to get your credit scores up 60 points in 60 days, that's a minimum, okay? There are several tools out there that can be used to get a quick spike in your credit score. And there are definitely some do's and definitely some don'ts, okay? The number one don't, do not pay off any collection accounts before going to my credit repair webinar, okay? This is one thing that trips most people up. If you've got a collection account showing up on your credit report from, let's say, 3 years ago, here's a common thing. You forget to return a cable box and they, whatever, shows up. You owe $250 to whatever cable company. 2 years later, you decide to pay it. It's going to show up on your credit report next month as collection paid. It's going to drag your scores down. You're going to reactivate that credit. If it's a couple years old and it's a collection account, let those sleeping dogs lie. Do not touch them. If you pay them, make payment arrangements on them, or do anything with them, you're going to reactivate them, and it's going to show up like a recent collection and drive your scores down again. Okay? So that's the one thing trips so many people up. Emily has been following me for almost 2 years. Emily, thank you so much. Always great to have you. Takita Garland. She's been here for many years too. Thank you so much. Yeah, that area. Okay, you're probably talking about where Brightmoor area is a little challenging. Okay. Terrence Watson, thank you so much, sir. Great. Glad you could make it. iPhone. Okay, my credit score is 550-ish. I'll get paid under the table. My living situations, friends and family. It's a little bit challenging to get things done when your income is paid under the table. We've got to be able to prove it. We've got to be able to source it. Okay. So reach out to me, schedule a call. Always happy to give you my input with regards to how we could possibly verify that and how long we need to do it. Someone's asking, how many assistance programs can you get? Well, sometimes it used to be a year ago, they were easy to stack. It's becoming harder and harder right now to stack them up. And reason being, maybe we took advantage of them last year and we stacked them up when they didn't realize we were doing it. So I feel some of these programs are onto us a little bit. Oh, hey, thanks for Terrence Watson. The DHC General Wealth Homeownership Program. Please contact me if you're a DHC resident receiving a housing voucher. Wow, Terrence, I can't thank you enough for raising your hand like that. To see someone in the Housing Commission just raise their hand and give you their phone number, an event where we probably have between Zoom and the other platforms, probably 50, 60 people. Terrence, I applaud you for doing that. I hope your phone doesn't blow up too much. But if you are with the Detroit Housing Commission, there's Terrence's number, 313-205-6351. I mean, I've had a couple of phone calls with Terrence. I'll tell you, he is the real deal. He is there. He is a servant. And that's exactly what I strive for. So great to have him in, tuning in this evening. All right. Martina, will you be able to get a copy of this recording? Yes. So Martina, we're actually streaming this recording out on YouTube. So if you go to my YouTube channel, Own the Roof, and look for the live events, you'll see it there. Got it. And it'll be uninterrupted there too. So, but more importantly, schedule a call with me. Love to learn your situation. Look, Cher saying still too many stipulations to win with. Boy, well, sorry to hear that, but I don't think so. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and I think it's never been easier to actually tap into these programs because they're plentiful. There are people that are engaging with it. Kenneth Frame, I hope you got my phone number. I will put it in there one more time before we break. Okay, Miriam, need a copy? I assume are you talking about my book or a copy of the webinar tonight? You know what I will do is let's get a copy of my book in here. I believe if you go to let's see if this works. Hey, there you go. Does work. Anybody who wants a copy of my book, here is a link. Own the Roof, free book, right there. Let's put it in. Good deal. Al Davis, looking for a copy of the houses. You know what, Al? If you could text me your information, I will get that out to you. Here is my phone number, 248-252-7283, and I'll get you a list of those houses. What was Terrence's number again? Let's go back here. Someone is asking for Terrence's number. There you go. Just put it in the chat box. Okay, let's keep going with, boy, lots of questions. Love all the questions tonight. Thank you so much. Someone just got off Credit Karma. My true FICO's 542, TransUnion 594. Depending upon where you're buying, Michael, you schedule a call with me. Love to see what programs could be a fit, and then we could actually try to pick some low-hanging fruit to get you approved for one of the DPA programs. Is there any programs for Troy or Sterling Heights? I live in those areas. Yes, I mean, the state of Michigan program is, you know, the easiest one that's available anywhere in the state of Michigan. That gives $10,000. Have any Canton? This is the blessing thing. Yes, Canton, same way. So Canton has the, I think the Wayne County program might work in Canton as well as the state of Michigan program, 10,000. Wayne County program is actually 14,000. All right. Troy will qualify for the state program for 10,000. Belinda, good. Your call's for tomorrow. Look forward to it. Great, Marlene. Hope you sign up for that credit repair webinar. Thanks, Terrence. Appreciate you hanging in there and passing your information out. Marlene, thank you for the information. Didn't know about these things. You know what, Marlene, the funny thing is I've been doing this 30 years and I knew that they existed, but I was always told that people couldn't get access to them or was fighting a losing battle. And then when I made the commitment to these about 12 years ago, I'll tell you, I close, gosh, at least 5, 6 of these a month. So, and right now, gosh, we have a pretty good pipeline of people that are closing. So, so you are quite welcome. Got it. Yep, and somebody's asked for a copy of the book. I just put the link in there a few seconds ago. Listing of homes, good. Claudette, yes, they have opened up the first-time homebuyers 25K program. It's been out for a little while now, Claudette. So, Claudette Embry, I believe you came into my workshop. So glad you could make it. So yes, that money is available. Reach out to us. I think you might be working with Steve. He can certainly tune you into it. Now, unfortunately, you can't use it in conjunction with the Tobias Harris program. That's what we were really hoping for. So now it's kind of either or. Either you do the Tobias Harris or you take the 25,000. Okay. Kenneth Frame, I've been paying $1,300 rent for over 5 years. I received SSDI. What's my chances? You know what, Kenneth? SSDI is such a question mark. It's some people can get 1,000 a month in SSDI. Some people get 3,000. Okay. Either way, there are options. Okay. So schedule a call with me and we'll figure it out from there. Okay. Oh, Marlene, I will call you. You are a blessing. Thank you, Marlene. You have made my night. LaShonda, you are right. We offer it up, LaShonda. By the grace of God, right? Okay, thank you so much. You're welcome, Claudette and Tanika Porter. You are welcome. All right, let me get out to some of my questions out with the Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Brenda Sandifer. It's been a year. You have been around. It flies by. Thanks for attending, Brenda. Appreciate it. Please schedule a call. Love to catch up. Okay. Yes. Simone Rouse. Okay, I have an active bankruptcy. Someone told me they can't work with me. Okay, so Simone, I go over this in my credit repair webinar. Okay, so there's two types of bankruptcies. All right, there is a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and there's a Chapter 12, or excuse me, a Chapter 13. 12 is for business. So if you are a Chapter 7 is when you wipe the slate clean. Okay, if that's what you've done, then what we need to do is we need to wait till 2 years from the discharge date of the bankruptcy before we can do anything. Now, if you're in a Chapter 13, totally different story. Chapter 13, you just have to wait one, you just have to be, that's when you're repaying it. So Chapter 13 is when they take all of the debts, you go in front of the bankruptcy court and they put all the debts together, negotiate them down, and then you pay them back over 5-6 years. Okay, you're going to pay back the bankruptcy trustee, and then they're going to pay off your creditors. So with that being said, if you ever have a choice, do the Chapter 7, wipe the slate clean. I used to think that, Chapter 7, 13 is the honorable way to pay the people back. Okay, hogwash. Businesses have no problem doing bankruptcy because it's the right thing to do. Treat your personal life like a business. If you have the chance to do a 7 versus a 13, great. Okay, now, Simone, you are on a 13. As long as you have made your last 12 payments on time to the trustee, we can get you approved. Okay, so keep that in mind. So it's a little bit more challenging, but it can be done. So schedule a call with me and I will go over the details with you, Simone, just so, because we do have to get your trustee's approval, which usually isn't an issue, but we want to make sure the numbers work for you. Usually they do, okay? But it depends on where your debt to income ratios are, because usually what I find that with a Chapter 13, that's a tough road. I mean, there's nothing inexpensive about those Chapter 13 payments, but if you're blessed to be able to pay those and have money to still buy a house, then we certainly have some options for you, as long as you've had the last 12 months payments to the trustee, and as long as those have been made on time. Can people buy a duplex or a triplex? Oh, awesome question. Yes, 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 and yes. Now, not all programs qualify for that. Okay, we have to pick a program that allows us to do the duplex and triplex. Now, if you were on my app, the Zero Down Scout, it will actually, when you take the quiz, it actually goes through and asks you those questions. How many people are in your household? Have you never owned anything? And it also goes through and asks you how many units. So please reach out to me. Always happy to make sure we can get you into the right programs. So think of it this way. There are if someone's going to be able to give you, so that's one of the tools I use for fixed income people too. So if you're on a fixed income, you can actually buy a duplex, take the income from the half unit. So let's say, for example, you find a duplex, say $200,000. You can rent one side out for $1,200. We can take that $1,200 and add it to your income, which makes it easier to qualify for the whole thing. And then that $1,200 is obviously more often than not going to take care of 75% of your payment. So it's a smart move if you want to be an investor too, or if you've never owned a home and want to get into real estate. If I had a do-over, that's what I would do to be a real estate investment starting over at a young age. Buy a duplex, triplex, or you can actually go up to a quadplex on these programs. Okay. And there's some great tax incentives, and to do that with cost segregation studies and things like that. Very advanced maneuvers, but happy to walk you through it. Okay. Kenneth, you received 3,300 SSDI. Good for you. So what we could do then, Kenneth, is if we take 3,300, and let's go here, 3,300 times 1.25. So you've got income of 4,125, because that's not taxable. So they're going to let us gross that up. So we've got about $1,856 a month that could go to a house payment and all your bills. So I think you're sitting in a pretty good spot, Kenneth, depending upon where your credit scores are right now. Got it. Oh, wow. What a great idea. If you could offer that up to parishioners. Now, keep in mind, Transfigured Church, it does have to be, you have to be a first-time home buyer to qualify for these programs. Okay. So schedule a call. Happy to point you in the right direction, if not for yourself, for some of your parishioners. So what a great way to help parishioners. LaShonda, yes, this is some good info. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, LaShonda, you are so welcome. And yes, thank you, Jesus. I believe that. Yes, some of them will be first-time buyers. Oh, awesome. Yeah. So especially if you have some around the church. Oh, Kenneth, gosh, you're sitting in a really good spot right now. So somebody tells me if your scores are up to 705, you probably don't have a lot of debts. So a lot of the credit scores are, when we start drifting at 700 or higher, it's usually because you keep low balances on your cards or aren't settled with a lot of debts. So great. So please schedule that call, Kenneth. Very happy to point you in the right direction to get things kicked off. All right. Here we are. Oh, it's 11 after 8 already. So any other questions out there? We still got quite a few people hanging on this evening. Now, whether you've fallen asleep, you're just going on, I don't know. But any other questions before we call it a night? Good. You know, Yvette is asking, is Experian a good app to check your credit? You know, it is a good app, okay? So when it comes to checking your credit scores, in the mortgage world, they're going to look at all three credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. So if I wanted to try and get out in front of things, I would look at Credit Karma, okay? Because Credit Karma when you go out to Credit Karma, you're going to get your TransUnion and your Equifax. Now, you're not going to get the FICO score. You're going to get the Vantage score. That's the free score. So it's not the correct credit score, but it's going to have the same information. It's going to have the TransUnion information and the Equifax information. And then the Experian app obviously has the Experian information. That's the third credit bureau. So by having all three of those, you're going to know exactly what's on your credit reports. And then by knowing where your scores are on there, and getting a list of what you have, whether it's auto loans, credit cards. I want to know what the balances are on the credit cards and the limits to see, because a lot of times we can get a quick spike in your credit score by manipulating those credit card balances very quickly. Okay. Oh, Belinda, sorry to hear that. If you could go out, here's my phone number, 248-252-7283. Just text me your name and your email address, Belinda, and I'll get that emailed out to you. Okay? Yeah, I'm not sure, but let's see if that's working. So we had some changes on our website. So it's showing that it's working on my side, Belinda, but technology. Zaporia, yay, you've had this question, but would credit repair be the first thing I would fix when looking into buying a home? It depends, okay? So it depends where your score is right now, all right? So remember I said earlier, I find a lot of people hold themselves back, okay? Hold themselves back from buying a home. And I feel like the main reason is because I get it. There's all kinds of people out there promising stuff that isn't legit. So you're wise to approach things slowly because there's no shortage of scams. I feel like 75% of the calls I pick up on my phone right now are scam, and they're not even coming up as scam anymore. So it's pretty sad how shady things are, and there's no shortage of people trying to separate you from your money. So I get that, but what I would recommend is it doesn't have to be perfection. Okay. Now, credit repair might be the best source, but I'm not a huge credit repair person right now because I see so many people go out to the credit repair companies and pay for things that they can have done for free. Okay. And I go over that in my credit repair webinar. One thing I will tell you, the biggest don't that you want to do is you do not want credit counseling. Okay. And you don't want those credit consolidation companies. They are not your friends. They do not work in your best interest. They are just there to separate you from your money. And once they do that, then they start working on your credit. Okay. Hate to sound like a cynic and hate to trash an industry, but right now with artificial intelligence, there is no reason. I always tell people, for me, I would go out to freeannualcreditreport.com. Okay. That's freeannualcreditreport.com. And I go over it in my webinar. Download all your credit reports. Then you can upload them to whatever artificial intelligence you like, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whichever one you want. You can upload your credit report there and say, hey, give me a plan to fix my credit from A to Z and give me letters to question anything that's on there, and boom, it'll do it all for you. It'll tell you the exact steps. No paying $100, $200 a month for these companies to fix your credit. Okay. And these credit consolidation companies that are servicing right now. And I find that anytime the economy shifts, which I feel like right now we're kind of at a tipping point in my mind where I feel like there's no extra money in anyone's household right now. I mean, every time my wife and I go grocery shopping, I look at the bill and I shake my head. I don't know how some families do it right now. It's not easy. So, so what happens is people are starting to fall behind, and as a result, these credit consolidation companies start surfacing, and they tell people, "Hey, give us a call. We'll negotiate all your balances down, and you don't have to worry about a thing." So what happens? So you call them up, they say, okay, from now on, send all your money to us. So now instead of sending your money to your credit card companies, your auto loans, whoever it is, you send it to them. They don't pay any of your creditors. They take their money first for the first 6 months. So all those payments you make for the first 6 months, that goes to pay the profit for the credit counselors. It's crazy. And credit consolidation companies. Then just when your creditors are about to sue you, miraculously, they start sending some of that money to them. But what happens in the meantime is all of these credit companies that aren't getting paid are going to report on your credit bureau that you are in credit counseling. And no lender will lend to you when it says credit counseling on your credit report. You were treated just like you were in bankruptcy without any protection from the bankruptcy court. So I always tell people, and don't get me wrong, I've been through bankruptcy myself 12 years ago when I told you about the bookkeeper that embezzled the money. Man, I went through, lost it all. So bankruptcy, when you're doing it, I get it, it's painful, but boy, what a fresh start. There's no reason to go into credit counseling or do that type of thing when there's bankruptcy available if you're in that bad of a spot. Because once you enter bankruptcy, you've got protection. They can't call you. They can't do anything. And if you set it up right, you can rebuild credit the day after your bankruptcy, okay? The key is you can build it up quickly. I can get somebody from a 350 credit score the day after the bankruptcy up to a 700 credit score in a year with the tools that I tell you about in my credit repair webinar. Now, the thing is, if you have any late payments after a bankruptcy, they smack your credit twice as hard just for the fact that they know you got the pass in bankruptcy, okay? So I hate to be, I hope I don't sound the wrong way, but I want to make sure people know that bankruptcy can be a tool, okay? And sometimes it's the best tool out there. So, and 2 years may seem like a long time, but it does go by rather quick. The older I get, it flies by. So anyways, very familiar with all of those techniques, the do's and don'ts. And I hope you realize I'm just going to give you the cold, hard truth on things. I just think people want to keep it real and they just want to know the real story. So that's kind of how I roll. So, all right. Any other questions out there? I could go on all night. Oh, Belinda, you just texted me? All right. I will get that out to you this evening then, Belinda, before I leave. Thank you, Yvette Hunt. Good. All right. Any other questions before we call it an evening? Okay. Well, I can't thank you all enough for attending. Boy, it was a cold day out there today. I went home for a little bite to eat before the webinar, and my gosh, it said 46 degrees in the car, and I was just, I'm at a loss. It's hard. I wish spring would finally come for us. So, but hopefully we'll be blessed with a wonderful summer. So on the bright side, at least my own selfish reasons, I find on weather days like this, people don't have a lot to do. So hopefully they tune into my webinar. So anyways, because somebody's asking my website, here, let me put that in there for you. It is called Own the Roof. And let me get that in here. OwnTheRoof.com. All kinds of tools out there, whether you like to learn with books, digital courses, webinars, you name it. We try to strike a chord with everyone. You know what I need to do is I need to put my books on Audible because I'm not a reader, but boy, I can do my yard work and listen to Audible all day. I like that. Welcome to Moody, Michigan. You are welcome, Zaparoya. Okay. Thanks for the wonderful night. Belinda, you are so welcome. Thank you for attending, and I look forward to the call tomorrow too. Michael, you are welcome. Appreciate it. I look forward to being a fan of yours too, Michael. So thank you all very much this evening. Great questions. Love being on here. Any questions you have, never hesitate to shoot me a text, and hope our paths cross again real soon. You're welcome, Claudette. You too. All right. Take care. Good night, everyone. Document Zoom.